How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I need a public service announcement. This is very important, and I need to say this. And I need to say it lovingly, generously. I need to say this charitably. And I need to say it to men. And I need to say it to women. Y'all, lean in here. Oh, gosh. I know in your head you think you look normal. But y'all, we know you had plastic surgery, and it does not look normal. You are not aging gracefully. You're not aging. You're melting slowly over time. And it doesn't look natural. In fact, it increasingly looks unnatural in ways that will scare babies and normal people. Please stop. Fox News anchors, many of you are friends, but you need to stop this. Your cheeks keep growing like you have chipmunks hoarding acorns in them. Your eyes are becoming more and more pulled back every day. At some point, you're going to be able to see your rear end by looking forward if you keep this up. I need you to stop. Think about the transgenders among us, how you can tell it's not right. Like, that's a man baby. We say the same thing about you guys. Please stop with the plastic surgery. I am assured that there are very, very, very high quality plastic surgeons who can do things that no one will ever know. But none of you have found that plastic surgeon. They allege to exist. None of you have found them. This Mar-a-Lago face thing they're talking about now, it is not natural. Y'all know what every single person listening to me right now knows what I'm talking about. The puckered lips that can't close, the large cheekbones that they weren't high cheekbones before, now they're just fat cheekbones. And then you get on Ozempic and you've got all this new collagen and fat and silicone in your face. You look like you're melting, people. I'm deeply concerned about some of the people I have seen on TV lately. And you poor women who now sleep with your eyes open because you've gotten those Barbie doll eyes. And I don't think they close. I think you've got to put a mask on at night to keep the dust out of your eyeballs when you're sleeping, because now you've contorted your face with surgery in such a way that your eyes don't close. And the rest of you are like, are you going for an Asian look with your eyes pulled? I don't understand how you look in the mirror and think I look young and attractive, because you do not. You genuinely don't. And it's time for an intervention, because sweet, holy little baby Jesus in the nativity scene, you people, I saw a picture the other, and I'm not going to name names because we're kind of friends, but I saw a picture of one of the Fox hosts, and I was like, I know you say you didn't, but you got either a health condition or you did, because you don't look natural. You got some sort of face paralysis, of some kind, and the Botox people. I mean, at least like take a couple of weeks off after the Botox so that your head at least starts moving again. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to start this hour this way, but it just keeps coming up. And I got the TV on in the background, and I saw another one. I was like, that's not natural. It's not healthy. Age gracefully. Please, I mean, you can do the red light mask therapy stuff. That apparently works without making you look weird. But I just, y'all, how do you like, again, just, you don't look normal. Age gracefully, please. Age gracefully. Embrace growing old. You get to a point where people are like, it's like getting a face tattoo. This is like the upper income Palm Beach version of face tattoos. You don't want to hire the people with face tattoos. Nobody wants to hire you with your head pulled back so far that we have to look at the back of your head to talk to you. Please stop. Please, for the love of all that is decent and holy. God did not intend for you to do this. And the rest of us know you're doing it, even though you deny that you're doing it. And you look in the mirror and you see a normal person, and the rest of us look and say, you're going to scare my child, and my dog is going to run and hide. Please put a bag over your head. Just embrace growing old. God intended that. Now I can move on. I've got that off my – y'all, I'm sorry. I was watching – and I saw a certain person who I know, and I was like, dear God, what happened? And somebody's got to, and they know that I love them, and look, I got to lose weight. I'm working on the weight loss. I understand. I'm getting old. I got little things, you get little things that grow now on your face. It's like, I want to get that cut off, but I'm not getting like, my face pulled back. No. Okay, I'm going to let it go now, but it's just not natural, and we know it, even though you deny it. Okay, let's talk about Tennessee's 7th Congressional District. Oh, yeah, her. Yes, Joe, yes, and denies it, and I saw her the other day, and I didn't even know it was her, and I was like, oh, my gosh, it's her, and look, stop texting. Because that's one of the people I had in mind. A longtime friend did not recognize and denies it. Oh, but you did. We're going to talk about Tennessee's 7th Congressional District now, because today changes everything. Let me explain what's going on here. Tennessee's 7th Congressional District had a congressman, Mark Green. Mark Green resigned from Congress to take a job in the private sector, which is code for cheated on his wife. And he did cheat on his wife and left Congress after the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was passed. So there's a special election today for that seat in Congress. And Emerson College is actually one of the better pollsters in the country. I had to look it up. I thought they were a bad pollster, but I was getting them confused with another college. Emerson actually has an A+ rating by Nate Silver and several other groups that look at them in 2022 and 2024. Emerson College kind of was very close to getting all of the elections right in which they participated. But this one, it's a 2-point race in a district that is technically R+10. R+10 means if you put a generic Republican and a generic Democrat on the ballot, the Republican should win by about 10 points. Emerson College came out the Monday before Thanksgiving or Tuesday before Thanksgiving and said it's a 2-point race. Here's the problem with the polling. As I said at the time, it was conducted Saturday, Sunday, Monday, headed into Thanksgiving week. So how accurate can the polling be? But Republicans are freaked out for this reason. Their own internal polling has the race closer than it should be, and Matt Van Epps is a good candidate. It should be a 10-point race. I suspect it's going to be a 10-point race. Trump won 22 points last year. Let me put this in perspective for you. If you want to understand the dynamics headed into the midterms, understand this one point. Donald Trump won Tennessee's 7th congressional district by 22 points in November of last year, and Matt Van Epps, running as the Republican in the special election, will not mention Donald Trump in his ads. You can make every excuse you want. You can make every excuse you want. Donald Trump's not on the ballot. It's not about Donald Trump, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Any campaign consultant will tell you. Any politician will tell you. And any person who hasn't drunk the Kool-Aid will tell you that if you're endorsed by Donald Trump and he won by 22 points in that district, you would bathe in Donald Trump, wrap him around you, wear his skin if you could to get elected. And when you don't, it's a sign there are problems. And there are. In 2022, Democrats running for Congress outside of the far left districts of this country refused to even mention or acknowledge Joe Biden was president of the United States. And at the time, the same people now who are dismissing the fact that Donald Trump's not in Matt Van Epps ads were making a big deal of the fact that Joe Biden was in the witness protection program and nowhere to be seen in any ad for any Democrat anywhere. It was a big deal because it showed how weak Joe Biden was and how people had turned on him. And they were right. The Democrats are right now about Donald Trump, and here's why this matters. If the race is within 5 points in an R+10 district that Donald Trump and Mark Green won by 22 points, Mark Green actually 21.5 points, that shows that Republicans are having a real problem turning out their base and Democrats can turn out their base. And it also is the final big special election headed into next year. Everyone's going to be focused on the midterms next year. This is a special election in a very Republican district, and if it's closer than it should be, you're going to start seeing a wave of Republican retirement starting next year because they're going to realize that the Democrats are going to just barnstorm the country and win. However, if Matt Van Epps does real well, he should. And if he does in an off-year special election where the party in power tends to have a surge in support, the path for Republicans next year is going to be to try to get as many wackadoo Democrats their party's nomination in the midterm primaries, and then run about how alienating those people are, how out of touch they are, how far left they are. Now, you never have to mention Trump. It's a good defensive strategy. It's what the Democrats did in 2022. But there's a side story here no one's paying attention to. The fact that Republicans are worried about this race in a district that is that Republican is a sign that the good times for the president with his party are beginning to come to an end as he is term limited and they are not, and they are looking for a future without him. And what you're going to find, particularly if the race is close, but regardless, you're going to start finding members of Congress distancing themselves from Donald Trump. And they will not criticize Donald Trump. They will not throw Donald Trump under the bus. What they will do is they will say, your Secretary of Defense is making you look bad. Your FBI director is making you look bad. Your Homeland Security Secretary is making you look bad. Your Legislative Affairs Director, and they're going to start throwing Donald Trump's staff and cabinet secretaries to the wolves. None of these Republicans in Congress are going to come after the leader of their party directly, but they will begin to do it indirectly by coming after his cabinet secretaries and his staff because he's term limited and they're not. And if this race is close, it's going to happen quickly. If it's not close, it's still going to happen. They'll just be more judicious. That's why today changes. This election actually does matter way more than you think, because it sets expectations for Republicans headed into the midterms, and they're all already freaked out about the midterms. They thought they were going to cruise to a mitigation of Democratic strategies because the Democrats were off their game, and then the November elections this year happened, and it spooked them, and then this election seems to be closer than it is, and their internal polling has it closer than it is, despite Matt Van Epps having a very good campaign and being a good quality candidate against a wackadoo progressive. It has spooked the GOP, and they head into the midterm spooked. Only if Matt Van Epps just blows this out of the water does it calm them down, and none of them think he's going to. And that's the thing here, is that he should, on paper, he should blow this out of the water. And that none of the Republican leaders think he is a warning sign for next year that they need to start preparing for. Guys, if you struggle to come up with gifts for family members, I got a suggestion for you, the Cove Pure. I love mine. I wasn't sure I would like it as much as I do, and I really, really, really do. What is a Cove Pure? Well, it's an water filtration system. It's on the countertop. You can get cold water. You can get hot water. It even has a bottle button, so you can get the warm bottle perfect for formula for your baby at night. It's really easy. It's so convenient. I use it all the time in my office. You will love it. It sits on the countertop. It uses reverse osmosis. It gets rid of like pharmaceuticals, fluoride, lead, arsenic. It's the purest water you can get. It tastes fantastic. If you're looking for a great gift for your loved ones or for yourself that they're actually going to use the Cove Pure. I partnered with them. They're giving you a $250 holiday discount with my link, covepure.com/Eric. That's covepure.com/Eric, ERICK. You get $250 off, covepure.com/Eric. The sale is going to end, so take advantage of this $250 holiday discount, covepure.com/Eric. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Should you wish to be on the program, I would be very happy to have you. Really? Wow. AI controls everything. Oh, good gracious. We have some unhinged people calling us today. All right. I got to move on to other stuff here. I got to say this, and I want it on the record, and don't be mad at me for saying this. President Trump, you made a mistake pardoning the former president of Honduras. The other day you said that you had heard it was a prosecution by the Biden administration, one of those runaway abusive prosecutions. Your first term, you actually started the prosecution, not Joe Biden. You began the investigation. It just got carried into the Biden administration because of COVID and things slowing down in the courts. You should have never pardoned the former president of Honduras. He was a narco-terrorist. You're leading operations in a war against narco-terrorists, and he was a big narco-terrorist and gun runner around the world, deeply, deeply, deeply corrupt. He may have been pro-America, but he was pro-American policy while killing the kids of this country with the drugs he was funneling into this country. I don't know who convinced you that you should pardon this man, but you should fire that person, whoever convinced you to do this. You're blowing up ships in the Caribbean of narco-terrorists, and you're pardoning a narco-terrorist leader. That makes no sense. It's not consistent. And this was a mistake that should have never been made. Please fire whoever advised you to pardon this person. All right. Now that I got that off my chest, I can move on. I need to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You can get 3 of them by going to EdenPureDeals.com. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. You put in the discount code ERIC3, ERICK3, and you'll get 3 of them. You can get them for less than $200. You save $200, and they work. They eliminate all odors. Every odor. It can't stand up to them. I used one the other day because of the smoker, getting the smoke smell again on my back porch, and they just work. EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code is ERIC3, ERICK3. They get rid of dust. They get rid of pollen. They get rid of 99.9% of bacteria and viruses. And you get 3 of them. You can hold them in your hand. They're small, they're portable. I keep one in a travel bag. Get 3 of them for less than $200. EdenPureDeals.com, discount code ERIC3. In business, they say you can have better, cheaper, or faster, but you can only pick 2. What if you could have all 3 at the same time? That's exactly what Cohere, Thomson Reuters, and Specialized Bikes have since they've upgraded to the next generation of the cloud, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. OCI is the blazing fast platform for your infrastructure, database, application development, and AI needs, where you can run any workload in a high availability, consistently high performance environment and spend less than you would with other clouds. How's it faster? OCI's block storage gives you more operations per second. Cheaper? OCI costs up to 50% less for compute, 70% less for storage, and 80% less for networking. Better? In test after test, OCI customers report lower latency and higher bandwidth versus other clouds. This is the cloud built for AI and for all your biggest workloads. Right now, with zero commitment, try OCI for free. Head to oracle.com/Erickson, ERICKSON. That's oracle.com/Erickson. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the nation. The phone number is 877-973-7425. Let me see if I can actually find the audio instead of reading you the transcript here. The president talking a little while ago at the White House in his last cabinet meeting of the year. And he was talking about the economy and the Fed chair. Nah, I haven't seen it. So let me just read you what he said. He said, inflation will soon be at a perfect level. Since last January, we've stopped inflation in its tracks, and there is still more to do. There's always more to do, but we have it down to a very good level. It's going to go down a little bit further. You want to have a little tiny bit of inflation. Otherwise, that's not good either. Then you have a thing called deflation, and deflation can be worse than inflation, but it almost will soon be at a perfect level. And mortgage rates, despite the fact that we have an incompetent chairman at the Fed, a real dope who should reduce rates. I saw even Jamie Dimon said he should be reducing rates. I never saw Jamie Dimon say that. I wonder why he said that, but he really said it because he's right. But we have a guy that's just a stubborn ox who probably doesn't like your president, your favorite president. But they're going to be coming down. You know, he called me one time, middle of the night, unlisted phone number. I answer the phone. It doesn't even say it's President Trump. There's no one to tell me the president's line. It just says, it's your favorite president. That's literally how I said, this is Eric. It's your favorite president. I mean, he talks like he always has. Now, I want to comment on part of this, though. China is going through deflation. And there are the same people who told you tariffs were good. They're like, why can't we get deflation? We want deflation. We want prices to come down. I'm going to try to explain this as best I can, why deflation, President Trump is right, deflation can be worse than inflation. The Great Depression was a deflationary event. You know, I went to law school to avoid math, so I'm going to make this as simple as I can for all of us. You got a widget. You sell the widget for $1. You can buy the widget for $1. I buy the widget for $1. The widget company employs 100 people to make the widgets. They all get a great salary, and the company is profitable selling $1 widgets. Deflation happens. The widget is now 25 cents. So 3/4 of the price it was yesterday. It's fallen the price 75% from $1 to 25 cents. That's deflation. That price has come down. So you today, with your earning power now, you used to only be able to afford 10 widgets. Now you can buy 75% more widgets because the price is down. You can buy a lot of widgets. Everybody can buy a lot of widgets. But there's a problem. It's the problem you don't see. Widget company was profitable, selling widgets for $1 and giving people great wages. Well, widget company cannot now pay the wages to the people. So it must either fire people or it must dramatically cut their wages. Yesterday, these people were all making $50,000. Have a 75% drop in their salary because widget prices, they've collapsed 75%. They were making $50,000, or let's say they were making $100,000, so I can do the math in my head. Now they're making $25,000. Or the company's not profitable, or the company goes out of business because the price of the widget has collapsed so much they can't make a profit. They go out of business. The company goes out of business. The real estate that they were on, it's now empty. It's now not worth as much to the tax-paying digest. The employees are all unemployed now. They got to go find jobs, but everything's collapsing and employers are having to fire everybody. That's the Great Depression. Prices collapsed rapidly. It's happening in China right now. And part of the problem is there's an ancillary effect to deflation. The price of the widget dropped from $1 to 25 cents. Some people aren't going to buy it thinking it could drop all the way down to 10 cents. I might wait. So not only is the widget price reduced by 75%, and the company still has a lot of overhead, has a lot of deals, has a lot of fixed costs, mortgages and loans that aren't going to be adjusted that they still have to pay despite not having as much money. They're not going to be able to refinance everything. Now suddenly some people are like, I'm going to wait it out. The widget price might drop further. Deflation is actually bad. It sounds like something you want. So what's the solution? The solution is a little more difficult to achieve, but with sound economic policy, you keep inflation low. How do you keep inflation low? You keep inflation low by the government not spending so much and putting so much money out there. So that given the choice between buying government bonds and buying public stock, you're investing in the private sector. You're buying stock. You're buying stuff, not government bonds. And that money goes to profits, which help your 401k, and also goes to pay raises. So you slow down inflation. So inflation's 1% to 2% a year. That's where the Fed likes it, 2%. But then wages are growing at 3% a year. So if wages are growing at 3% a year and inflation is growing at 2% a year, you're getting ahead. You're not making a lot of money every year. Your pay is not going up much every year. It's going up 3%, not 10%, not 5%, just 3%. But because inflation is only going up 2%, you're actually every year with your 3% wage able to buy more. Your wage growth is outpacing inflation. So you haven't deflated prices, you've just grown your income. By restraining inflation, but not having deflation, by having a stable economy, wages grow faster than inflation. Every year your take-home pay is more. Not just more, but your purchase power is more every year. That's what you want. That's what we had until Biden wrecked it. That's what we had in the first Trump administration. That's, frankly, part of the problem with tariffs because tariffs cause prices to go up. It's not inflationary per se. It's a one-time price hike. But when wages are behind inflation right now, inflation right now is growing at 3%. Wages, I think, are growing at like 2.5%. So every year now, stuff is getting more expensive. You're getting priced out. You want it to be reversed. You want wages at 3% and inflation at 2.5%. We could get there with sound economic policy. Part of what happens, though, is the government's got to spend less. The government's got to stop dumping money it doesn't have into the economy. We can get there again. We had it up until, 4 years ago. We had that balance. We can get back to that balance. Part of it's going to require some economic discipline in Washington. That's the hardest part, frankly, is the economic discipline in Washington, D.C. But we have to get back to it. And we got to get back to it because we don't want the deflationary event. There was an article in The Atlantic talking about that today, about just how bad the deflation situation in China is. And I would note that if you're a longtime listener to this program, I've talked a number of times about the deflationary events that were happening in China and how bad it actually was. There are actually growing numbers of stories, I should say, about just how bad the inflationary events are in China right now, where people are flat out not buying stuff. They're unable to buy stuff. They're waiting. Yeah, here it is. This is from The Atlantic. Living in China is getting cheaper because rents in my neighborhood in central Beijing are dropping. My wife and I pressed our landlord to reduce ours by $140 a month in a new lease we signed last month. He wasn't happy, but he's lucky we didn't move out. Given the desperation of local landlords, we probably could have saved another $500 a month had we switched to a comparable apartment nearby. To Americans pinched by rising prices, such declines might seem enviable. The high cost of living in the United States has become a serious political headache for President Trump, who entered office with promises to bring prices down, but has seen them only rise. Falling prices in China may then seem like yet more evidence Beijing got things right, but plummeting prices are a problem too. Deflation in China is a result of the most basic of market principles: too much supply, too little demand. China's government has spent decades promoting investments in housing, factories, and infrastructure, investments that enabled China's rapid growth, but has also left the economy burdened by apartments and assembly lines that exceed demand. The mismatch explains why prices for Chinese-made goods have been falling for more than 3 years. A proliferation of bargains may be great for shoppers and renters, but it poses an existential threat to the economy. Deflation stymies growth by discouraging consumption. Why buy a car or a dishwasher today when they're cheaper tomorrow? Chinese leaders have resisted economic reforms to scale back supply and juice demand, although Xi has suggested the government should do more to strip out excess factory capacity. Calling for an orderly exit from outdated manufacturing, local officials often prop up loss-making companies to preserve jobs. China is now paying for the economic mismanagement. Companies in crowded, competitive markets are slashing prices in a mad scramble for customers. We recently bought a cup of fresh yogurt from a nearby restaurant for 68 cents. In September, it was $1.10. A friend recently tried out a new gym with a promotion that cut exercise classes to 40 cents a session, a bargain compared with the $10 she usually spends. Vicious competition among desperate automakers has depressed car prices to unsustainable levels. BYD, China's largest electric vehicle maker, startled the industry earlier this year with steep discounts. The company cut the price of its Seal hybrid sedan by 34% to $14,500, and yet the Chinese are reluctant to shop because prices keep coming down and wages are coming down. And a lot of people have loans that are fixed in and they can't refinance in China. It's becoming a serious economic drag in China, and it's something we don't want here. High inflation is bad. We don't want high inflation. We've had high inflation. It has come down. It's still higher than it should be. One of the things that's working good is that our gas prices continue to fall. Gas prices have been falling pretty reliably for some time. That's a good thing, and the president's hoping that we might be able to get it down even further. This was actually an engagement with the president at the White House a little earlier with some of the reporters.
We're now at about $2.50 a gallon. We're going to be, I think, at $2 a gallon. We could even crack that at some point. I'd love to do it. And we could do it more easily if we weren't building up the strategic national reserves, which Biden emptied out before the election so that he could try and get elected, meaning he started it, then he got thrown out of the race, then she took over and she kept it going, and they emptied out these strategic national reserves, which are really meant for something else. They're not meant to keep people happy with their gasoline price. They're meant for war. They're meant for problems, big problems. He emptied it out, and then she continued it during the process of trying to get elected. Didn't work out too well for him. And they virtually brought it down to the lowest level, I believe, in history. And it didn't have much of an impact because the prices were very high. But our prices now for energy, but for gasoline, are really low. Electricity's coming down. And when that comes down, everything comes down.
He's right. This is one of the smartest things this administration has done since they got in office, was to push for an expansion of drilling. In fact, OPEC is warning about an oil glut. We haven't had that since 2020. Remember when everybody stopped, you could actually buy a barrel of oil, like they would pay you to take it off the premises. It was like a negative price. No one had ever seen that before. Oil companies were trying to get rid of oil. It was so stockpiled and gas prices were so cheap. We're having an oil glut again. And that's a good thing because it brings down the price. Now, here's the problem, though. Because the price is coming down, you've got oil field hands that make a certain amount of money. Layoffs are going to start happening in the oil sector because they've baked in labor and demand for labor at a certain price. It gets down to $2 a gallon. I wish it would. It would be economically stimulative and could forestall any sort of recession if we get down to $2 a gallon. It has been a very wise policy by this administration to focus on maximum production of oil in this country. We need it. We actually do need it. Fossil fuels are not going away. I don't care what the left says. Fossil fuels are not going away. We need as many fossil fuels as we possibly can to fire up this American economy and keep energy prices cheap. Cheap energy prices help bring down inflation without causing deflation. And that's something we need. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number is 877-973-7425. I want to go to Chuck calling from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Chuck, welcome to the show. How are you?
Oh, could be better, could be worse. Is my standard reply. I have a few thoughts, but probably more questions about economics in general and inflation versus deflation and all that. I took one economics class in college back in the 70s when inflation was, seemed like higher than ever. And our professors, the main point our professor got across was inflation is too much money chasing too few goods. Mm-hmm. And it's my understanding, rightly or wrongly, that the U.S. government keeps printing this money, it seems like all the time. And I've never understood how it gets into circulation in the first place. Where does the new money go, or who gets to spend it first? And I assume it's the government that gets to spend it first, but I've never had that explained to me. And if the government is pumping money into the economy to cause inflation, why can't it, on a very gradual basis, so it's not painful to anybody, withdraw money from circulation over the course of time to bring it back down to a reasonable level?
Okay, great questions. And again, I go into this making sure everybody knows I'm not an expert on this, but I've read enough to know that, when the government is dumping money into the economy, essentially what it's doing is it's printing money to pay the government's own bills. And that money then gets circulated in as the government pays its bills. And likewise, it's when interest rates are very low, banks can pull money out from the Federal Reserve and lend a lot of money. When Congress starts dumping money on American citizens it doesn't have, remember all the stimulus checks, the $2,000 here for this, the $2,000 there for that? That was money that was conjured out of nothing and put into Americans' pockets and flooded the zone and caused the mass inflation. It's what Larry Summers warned about, who, by the way, is stepping back from more and more stuff because of the Epstein scandal. But that's what he was warning about. When you give Americans stimulus checks of $2,000 a pop, that's a lot of money that the government doesn't actually have. They've got to print new money. That causes inflation. So you got to pull that money back, rein it back in, start paying off debts and get money out of the system. And that's where the raising interest rates comes in and restrains the borrowing rate. When you wind up doing that, it makes it harder to get money out of the government when you have high interest rates. That's how you fight inflation, raise the interest rate. Now, let me tell you, speaking of banks, Old Glory Bank, probably the fastest growing bank in the country right now. It's my bank. It can be your bank. oldglorybank.com/Eric. Go there today. You want to do business with companies that share your values. Old Glory Bank shares your values. They believe in freedom and hard work. They like to reward it. They're very patriotic. They like to do great banking deals for members of the military, waiving fees, giving you great accounts. If you're a small business in this country, they're very hands-on with business. You can go to oldglorybank.com/Eric today to find out more. I've got a no-fee checking and a no-fee savings account with them. They're very good people. They would love to have your business. They believe in freedom and hard work and patriotism. They're not ashamed of this country, and they would love to do business with you. If you're looking for a new bank, check out Old Glory Bank at oldglorybank.com/Eric. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Terms and conditions apply.